Well, for more on this, we're joined by Raymond Vickery, who's a former United States Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Trade Development, live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to the program. So the two countries have finally managed to come to an agreement, but why now?
Well, thanks very much for having me and allowing me to comment on this. The Indian-U.S. relationship is one of the most important in the world. These two largest democracies, and I would argue greatest democracies, have so much in common in terms of people-to-people, economic, strategic interests, that it is good news that this agreement, so-called, has been reached. I say so-called because the devil's in the details, and we really don't have any details. This is a problem, really, which never should have arisen in the first place. It is a problem which is created by the Trump administration's reliance on tariffs as a tool, presumably, to recreate a manufacturing fortress America in the United States, completely contrary to what has happened economically since World War II under the World Trade Organization, and before that, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. But President Trump has in mind that tariffs are a cure-all for the economic problems in the United States, as well as reordering the international system. This is really an unproven pipe dream, and in fact, the last time the United States tried this was in the Great Depression, and it made the Great Depression worse under the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. So yes, it's good news that the downward spiral, which has been sparked by these tariffs, the treatment of India differently from China in regard to Russia, the $100,000 fee on H-1 visas, the claiming of credit for resolving problems between Pakistan and India, which Prime Minister Modi has denied. All those things were missteps, and I think that finally saner heads have prevailed in Washington to convince the president that he should accept this deal. Exactly how it's going to work out is very unclear. As you've pointed out, the only thing that India has confirmed is the reduction in tariffs from 25 to 18%. There is no confirmation that I've seen anywhere of the other components, the complete stoppage of oil imports from Russia, the so-called $500 billion purchases from the United States, which obviously couldn't happen overnight, since trade now is only about $200 billion on a yearly basis. And the saying that India has reduced everything, all its tariffs to zero, and done away with all the non-tariff barriers. India said nothing about that. And it's very hard to believe that India is going to throw its farmers under the bus in regard to key agricultural matters.
Okay, let me just ask you this, and if I may just jump in there. I mean, you touched on this briefly. I mean, how much domestic pressure is Donald Trump facing then when it comes to the economy, and how does that play into the trade deal?
Well, it very much plays into it. The chief component of Donald Trump's election to the presidency in 2024 was concerns about the economy. It's the economy, stupid. And he said, yes, he's going to bring down inflation and that everything is going to enter into a new era of economic prosperity in the United States. This just hasn't happened. Inflation in terms of groceries, in terms of insurance, in terms of health care, all of those indices continue to rise. He is under tremendous domestic pressure in regard to the Epstein case, whether he's involved in that. He's under pressure across the board in terms of the heavy-handed immigration, which has killed 2 people up in Minneapolis and has been a contravention of the U.S. Constitution. So he's under tremendous pressure. And as is his wont, he tries to distract. And of course, saying that you've got a deal with India in which he, in terms of his transactional approach as opposed to a relationship approach, is a way of a real estate developer person saying, yeah, I've triumphed on this and it's all done.
Right. So let me ask you this then. Forgive me for jumping in again, but the US president, as you mentioned there, has a notoriously unpredictable style. So are all the various aspects of this trade deal likely to stick?
Of course, you point out the really, as we call the elephant in the room, and that is the mercurial nature of President Trump. Taking U-turns on, say, Greenland, what he's done in Venezuela, and whether it can be depended on or not is not known until he faces some other pressure, some other transaction in which he wants to come out on top. And I think you put your finger on one of the key components that we have to recognize as damage to the U.S.-India relationship by this whole tariff approach, and that is whether the United States can be relied upon in the long term. And we've worked for 30 years on our side and on the Indian side too, in restoring trust between India and the United States. The U.S.-India Civil Nuclear Agreement was all about trust, and we were making great progress. But this tariff, my way or the highway, has done damage. So we're now in a new era. Instead of trying to build a relationship based upon common strategic values and cooperation, we're into a transactional approach. Nevertheless, it's good news that at least this much has happened, and perhaps now we can have greater cooperation with the Quad, with Japan, Australia, U.S. and India vis-a-vis China.
Okay, forgive me. Sorry for interrupting. We have run out of time. But Raymond Vickery, we very much appreciate your insights. Thank you for being with us here.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Cary Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.